Yeah, so that's a very good number and it's quite impressive, and I'm sure it contributes a lot to the GDP of the nation.
That's incredible. Can we go? Can we grow with what we have right now? To even beyond to what we have right now?
There is very huge potential. Huge potential. The delta is massive. It's a very massive wetland. And, there are very few operators, successful operators in there. And most people own land in the delta, and they are not really utilizing it to gain profit out of it, because they don't have the information, the full information of the value of the assets they are sitting on. Yeah, so there is a lot of potential to grow if people invested a lot in those areas and they appreciated the value of the assets that they have in those areas. Yeah.
What are some of the challenges facing property valuers in Botswana in valuing specialized property?
There are some challenges, like when it comes to financial data. Data is one of the critical challenges when it comes to conducting any form of valuation or analysis. This financial data is not easy to capture, to research. Even when you research about it, some of it is not really very reliable, so you have to go an extra mile as a valuer to ensure that the data that you have captured is valid and reliable. Yeah.
So this is one of the major, challenges that property valuers do encounter when they're trying to value the specialized property.
Yes, I must mention to say specialized assets are not for every valuer. You must have a certain level of understanding for you to conduct that valuation. We go into a lot of critical financial and forensic analysis to conduct this kind of valuation, and it takes a lot of time, and it takes a lot of money also. You invest a lot of resources in order for you to come up with that kind of information. Yeah, so it's not for every valuer. Yeah, there are specialized valuers, and I'm one of them.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. How valuing specialized property affect or impact funding of projects, set council tax?
When it comes to taxes, yeah, most of these specialized properties, like I mentioned earlier, apart from those that are located in your cities, suburbs like here in Gaborone and Francistown and other areas, most of them are located in rural areas, and they are not yet on the what you call the rating roll. Hence, they cannot pay that kind of tax. Yeah, so that's why you find that most of the areas, the specialized properties that are located in those areas, the respective local authorities like your councils will not get any form of tax because it's not yet gazetted that they should pay tax. But if it was expanded and gazetted that in those areas also they are eligible to pay tax, the local authorities will be getting a lot of revenue from them because they do make a lot of profits.
You just mentioned earlier on that you came from the Okavango Delta and Chobe areas, where there is a vast, space of these properties.
Yes.
Would you say they are within the payroll, or are they paying tax? Do councils know about them, especially that they are not in the cities, they are in the Delta?
Local authorities do know about them. It's only that they are not in their jurisdiction. When you look at in those areas, like for example Chobe, Okavango Delta, those pieces of land are under a different kind of land tenure, which is customary. And customary land in Botswana is in the hands of the land boards and the tribal, customary authorities. Yeah, so you can only apply land taxes on state land, you see. However, there are certain incentives, I think, that the government gets from some of these operations.
All right. Now, what are some of the key elements that contribute to judgment of specialized properties?
Well, the most critical key component is the performance of the business. When we are doing evaluation of a specialized asset like a hotel, we look at its potential to generate revenue. We also delve into the analysis of its operations. Is it operating at the industry standards optimum? We look at all that. We also look at the asset itself, its facilities, the rooms, the quality, the outlook, the aesthetics. We also look at, do they contribute to the revenue generation of the asset? Because at the end of the day, that is an investment property, and it is valued based on the investment criteria.
Okay.
Yes.
So how do you approach the valuation of specialized assets like hotels and restaurants?
Yeah, we approach them from an investment point of view. We look at what an investor would gain at the end after investing in that property. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
That's incredible. So what specific data, earlier on you talked about different data, you talked about financial data. What specific data and information do you consider when valuing filling stations and maybe pubs?
Yeah. For filling stations, we are going to look at the location of the filling station. That is one critical component. If it is located in a densely populated suburb where there is a lot of traffic of motorists, then that filling station will definitely be generating massive revenues. And we use the profits method, what we call the profits method. Is it making enough profit? And is it sustainable enough to continue? Also, filling stations that are located on your highways and where there is a lot of traffic going in and out, they also tend to have higher values. We also look at the facilities that are on the filling station. Does the filling station have a quick shop? Does it have a car wash? Does it have other facilities, restrooms, where when the commuters stop there, they spend some time on their journey? Yeah, so all those factors, they contribute to the value of the filling station.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, can you explain the key factors that influence the valuation of a hotel property? You just mentioned about the
Yes.
filling station. Now, let's get to the hotels.
The hotels, the key factors, you're going to look at its potential to generate revenues, its ability to operate at the standard, industry standard, the level. We're also going to look at where it's located. Is it located in an area that any other investor would want to go and invest in? Yeah, so we look at all those factors.
All right. Now, when valuing a restaurant, what methods or approaches do you typically use?
The restaurant, we use the profits method again. Is the restaurant generating enough revenues to sustain itself and to make a profit? And are there any other players who would want to go and conduct business in the area where the restaurant is located? Even if the restaurant is given to a different kind of management, will it continue? Remember, we value these assets based on a going concern concept. The business will continue its operations with or without the original owner. Yeah.
All right. We are towards the end of our conversation, but how important is market research and industry analysis in valuing these unique properties?
It is very critical because that is the basis of the valuation. You need to have valid and credible data to conduct the valuation.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, we are wrapping up. Can you describe any recent trends or changes in the valuation of specialized assets like hotels or filling stations and even pubs?
Of course, recent changes have been due to COVID. Most of the hotel industry was affected because there was no travel to those destinations. So those changes have impacted a lot on the value of the hotels, and as valuers, we are now taking into considerations factors such as, if something like COVID happens, how do we approach this? Yeah.
Now, let's close our conversation on this. What is the current trend in the market looking at the buying power of specialized properties?
Well, most of these specialized properties are owned by a group of companies, and it's rarely to find individual owners because they are high-value assets. Yeah, so the trend is not really. I would encourage many participants, as much individuals and any other person who is interested in going into this kind of investment.
Right.
Yes.
And that is where we have to end our conversation. Mr. Brian Sokisi, thank you so much for your insights. We always learn about property and property valuation and everything that deals with, property. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much.
And that is where we have to end our conversation. Thank you so much for staying with us. Don't move. I'm coming right back with the 4 o'clock news in brief.
The road to destiny is not paved with brick and tar, but with vision and determination that unveil over time who we truly are when we get there. The Ministry of Transport and Public Works has embarked on a journey of transformation to enhance the efficiency of transport system in the Greater Gaborone area. This journey of the Greater Gaborone Urban Transport Improvement Project is funded by the Government of Botswana, assisted by the World Bank and OPEC Fund for International Development. The ideas adopted through this transport improvement project will for the next 25 years transform Greater Gaborone to a mobile compact city based on concepts of urban transport development in relation to land settlement and use. Wasting no time and without a moment to spare, the government of Botswana, through the Ministry of Transport and Public Works, initiated the construction of 3 bridges or overhead crosses along the KT Motsete Drive, Western Bypass. At the junction with Lobatse Road, Game City Circle, Willie Siboni Road, BTB Circle, and Kudumatse Drive, Rainbow Circle. The installation and operation of new modernized traffic signaling systems and centralized traffic control (CTC), as well as the layout improvement of selected intersections in Greater Gaborone. These projects will go a long way in enhancing critical transport infrastructure required for improving quality of life for citizens and visitors and strengthening economic development in the Greater Gaborone area. The ministry is set on fulfilling Vision 2036 aspirations for the benefit of all Botswana through sustainable roads of a global standard that promote prosperity for all. Ministry of Transport and Public Works, gateway to world-class infrastructure and transport services.
Welcome to beautiful Botswana, where the warmth of her people and wildlife is welcoming, where the vibrancy of her land echoes in the unforgettable voices of her people. Come and see Botswana in her splendor, a place to live, work, and invest. Botswana, our pride, your destination.
Lieutenant Dr. Mokgweetsi Masisi re puso e tsweletse ka go dira ka bojotlhe go netefatsa fa Batswana ba nna le seabe se se tona mo ditlhabologong. O ka ile fa maitlamo a go baya Batswana kwa pele a le motshega mo mehameng ya ditlhabologo ka go farologana ya akaretsa meepo, temothuo, botsogo le tse dingwe tse tsotlhe di leng botlhokwa go goga maitlamo a ditlhabologo tsa itsholelo le batho tsa sennela-ruri. Lieutenant o buile se mo phuthegong ya kgotla kwa motseng wa Mabalane kwa kgatlheng tshokologong eno. Moumagadi wa Gatautona Meno Masisi re o tla tlhomamisa gore go dirwe diphetogo dingwe mo molaong wa lefatshe leno wa ditshwanelo tsa bana wa ngwaga wa 2009 gore o itebaganye botoka le dikgwetlho tse di amang bana mo nakong eno. Moumagadi wa Gatautona o buile se mosong mono Gaborone jaaka makalana a lekgotla la ditšhaba a UNICEF le UNFPA a ne a tshegeditse moletlo go ipelela letsatsi la mafatshe la ngwana wa mosetsana. Moletlo wa Maung International Arts Festival o tla fiwa madi a fetang 181,000 ke Orange Foundation go itebaganya le dituelo tsa badiragatsi le go rulaganyetsa. Moletlo o itsege thata ka go ipelela ngwao botaki le bodiragatsi o tlhalosiwa fa le botlhokwa ka o ka fetola matshelo a batho le itsholelo. Modulasetilo wa Poeta Vango re le godile seganabeng a re tshwaragano ya bone le Orange Foundation ke gato ya botlhokwa mo moletlong o ka bantse bana le dikgwetlho tsa tlhaelo ya go dira moletlo wa maemo a ntlha. Mo sekisiwa go bua mantswe ape a re o ipona molato mo melatong ya polao e le mebedi ya e lebisitsweng le mene ya maiteko a polao. Moatlhodi wa kgotla-kgolo ya ditsheko bana ba Senyamazabo o bone ntswe ape molato mo melatong yotlhe e merataro ya e lebisitsweng. Moatlhodi Nyamazabo a re bosupi jo bo rotsweng mo lekgotleng bo lekane go lebisa mo sekisiwa molato. Mokatisi wa setlhopha sa Zebras mo go motseng Pote a re motshameko wa botsalano kgatlhanong le Eswatini o tla thusa go ka berekela mo tomaganong ya batshameki ba gagwe pele ba simolola ya go ipatlela phatlha kwa sejaneng sa lefatshe kgwedi e latelang. Mpote o kaile seo mosong ono kwa ikatisong kwa lebaleng la Lekidi Football Center jaaka ba itlhokoletsa go amogela Isitlhangu ka mosupologo kwa Lobatse Sport Complex. o etso seo ke di gang ka bokisane ga se itletseng ya latela gante jana kana go ya botlhano na le rona ra tswelela.
ngwageng e tlang e le yona bohelo wa rona mo setilong ra go decentralize education. We're going to decentralize education. Ke ne ke bua le mo khoma phakela ke mo hasekai ba go gompieko mo Botswana thata tsa bone di ngotlilwe e be di nna go sele mme thata tse ile gore ba di tlhoka go tsamaisa sekwele le tsa madi tota go baakanya stilo go dira kontraka ena go reka senanne dio tsa go nna yalo ra go ira lo be ro ketsa madi a nna mo sekweleng a laolwa ke bo principal. The same thing go ditleliniki. We are going to decentralize the health sector for tipatela superintendent ane le budget e lekane go ka tsamaisa sepatela matron le ane le budget le go ditleliniking go ne le ba tshwereng budget batho ba North East sa le letelwa ke motho ne le sa mmitsa ile a swa ba go epela go matapeng a matopos gate Cecil Rhodes a heta le tsela le hatsi akire ha lena le hatsi mo North East ha lena re batla go re tsene ditlhogo and dive deep and do everything we can, everything in our power and might, with the same energy, if not more, like we applied when we looked at the diamond space to find land for you. Botswana o dikile a pero ke mathata go tlhoka melemo le dipilisi tse di tlhaela mme go tlhaela ga tsone tota ga gona pilisi di ro mo Botswana di re go matsheng a se ba reka mo go bone ntse ba na le mekgwa bontsi ba bone ga se botle ya gore ba tsenya puso mo sepitlaganyane sa go turisetsa puso ba tlhaetsa dilwana tsa melemo le dipilisi ile mo go itirelwa nya mo go atlhela mme o bona gore ba dirisa batho ba ke a ba khala ha ba tela tsin la rona go tla gore boloke kana go dira lona ka boammaruri ba tle gore go pela mme re tla ba kae a go badile ba tla boela ga bona le yone kgwebo tse re tla ba cancela mo go tsone re ba di team a go atlhamala ga kwa bona kwa tsine le ngwele gore o itlhala batho ba ile gore ke ba tswa kwa ba le nosi ba busa sector ile ngwe ai ka le bona ke emba sa ditho gore ha di tebe ba le gore ke ona le tswana yala di ra so se ngwe lana go le gong e bona tlhella ona le ke renyana ba tate bo tautona le la batho ba buagi di ba me ha ke boye go tswa ha ke go boye kana ngilane ke se mo go sona ke mo go sona ibile ke tlatso me ke tla ke le mogwetsi motautona wa se mo ntirile motho le matona ana se gore a irile batho ke bone le party ele gore ke mo go yena ga se gore irile ke gone go busa e kgona go nna kontle me re nela boammaruri ga ke go amogela gore ga tsela rona le jwang tsoma le ba gaetso ke bona ba dila ba go goba bana ba tsa mmuka marago e le tlala ba ba tswa kwa bone ba keta ka madi a rona ga ke go se amogela tsamang le go bolelela bangwe ba gona ke ditsala tsa lona la ba itse a ke tsere seemo sa gore le taolo ya gore mo pusong ya me Motswana o morudi Kgobe o nkwe mataba o se bilo ya ka nna o tla pele Motswana o tla pele mongwe le mongwe o se Motswana ra mo rata mme ke tsholela wa gaetsho pele ke gore be ke mo gopola re simolotse gore re itirele melemo mo gae re itirele ditiro tsa botsogo tse ne di sa iro mo gae di iro mo gae gompieno malobana pele ga boipuso ne go arwa mekwatla go se ke Tumile Masire Teaching Hospital ke bo mankge bo mbantswitswidi ba thipa lelo a rola motho mo lehatsheng ba tsaya marapo a ba ntsha ba tsenya mo e kabele marapo dilo tse e le gore di a go irwa mo Botswana kompone e le gore puso ya meketsa re tshotso ya gore ra go tsenya madi mo teng re nna le seabe go bana ba rona ba tsene ho we are investing in that company CTL so ya ditsela ena e dinterlocking ke a le rapela le reng le puso sentle le ka boammaaruri ne ka le ira tikeletso le ke motshata utona ko Serowe ra ira ditsela tsa interlocking ko Serowe ba ikelela Serowe ikelela di bona mme dirwa di engineer di le koro yana gore metsi a kgona go gokologa di papietso gore kolo tse di rileng di kgone go eta ho mme go na le di-restriction le di-bylaw di dirwe ga gona mo counselara o e reng ga go dua ko ditlhophong a ba soletse gore wa okelediwa madi ke seke ba re tsenya stress ka madi ba re tsenya stress ka go berekela batho ba ikanela gore ba go berekela batho o buanya le gone le ba botseng dipotso ga ba go emela ditlhophana a eta re ga re sena gore tlhopha bo re tsenya stress gore batla madi ga ka re ga ba sekala motlhopha a o tswa kae kana o tswa kae ke bona ba bohelwa gore ba tsholelwe batho ba sena go okelediwa mme tiro wa bone e tona ke go leberekela phate go leberekela mo ditseleng ke gore ba ire di-bylaw ba sena go nna gatse ba gakololwa ke baitsanape gore go ga tsela e ka tsaya boketebo e be go bewa saene yana in the next 2 weeks or so tle re simolotse ka development managers e be go thuthuntsega madi a ne Masarame a bua A3 ya go dira wa maung ya go dira go tswa maung wa sheka ya go dira madi a teng ga re ra go a kopa a teng go setse boitsanape hela go setse boammaaruri go setse bonatla go setse go dira tiro ka nako yana ke se go ba kotela gore he ita ha ema itlaganne ke ngo sa dira chaisa bereka ala utlwa re iretse gone gore batho ba re ba kotele gape re tseye taolo motho o berekang re mo a kgole le go motlhatlhotsa maemo re motlhatlhotsa maemo o tlhala re mo ise sekweleng o dipang re mo busetse ko morago kana re mo kobe re iretse gone yana ga gona o ka golelang puso ga gona o ka golelang maemo a gago ra go ba kgethela re ba beela dinako e re ka nako ya gore o bo editse sele ga gona manga yana ga re puso itlhaganetse yana ga re ra re change ga re reset agenda ga re vision 2036 re ra e le gore ira dilo ka gore re saotswe ke dingwaga di se kae hela ka nra re ka 2036 will be high income re tle re jala godimo rotlhe 2036 tle sa nna mo ditirong tse dintsenyana ga re ka thwala a ra utlwa we want it badly ka gore ke botshelo bo botoka ga gona o sa batleng dilo tse di siameng
Right, so ra tswelela go ka ile fa lefatshe leno le na le maitlamo a ditlhabologo a ka one a go gang go diragadiwa ga go godisa itsholelo ya botlhe fa bua se kwa tshimolodisong semmuso ya maitlamo a lefatshe leno a go tokafaletsa bana le banana matshelo mo bekeng eno. Totona Dr. Mokgweetsi Masisi o rile o tshwanetse go nna le maitlamo a tseneletseng a ka diragatsang tsotlhe tse di netefatsang temogo le seabe sa banana le bana mo ditlhabologong go tshwana le ipabalelo tseleng. Mothusa mogokaganyi wa Society of Road Safety Ambassadors re Galeboe Motlhajwe o fano go bisanya le rona ka kgang e. Right, so tla ke se sebaka se ke go amogele on in Botswana Television on In Context.
Good afternoon, sir.
All right, let's start a conversation by understanding this. Conversation of the day is national commitment for adolescent well-being. Make us understand this.
All right, no, thank you. This is a commitment pushed by the young people, for the young people, but pushed for the political leaders to take it forward, to implement and to come up with strategies and policies to reform, to address the challenges faced by the adolescent and the youth in Botswana.
Okay, that is what. And what's your role in adolescent safety in roads?
Okay, our role is to come up with the challenges, to identify the challenges that the young people and the adolescent face in Botswana. That is to say, that our area of expertise, to say these are the areas that challenges or that the young people face in Botswana. Pertaining to the road safety or road crashes. So our main role is to steer and to guide and to say this is where you are lacking and this is where you want to go. So can we please reform these policies, or can we please come up with new strategies to save the young people's lives and adolescent? Because there are so many challenges that surround the youth and the adolescent that around road safety that hinders them to progress. For instance, we can talk about the issue of carbon emission, whereby...
But before going to that one, we'll get to those challenges. But what is the natural status of adolescents in Botswana when we're talking about road safety? Are our kids safe on the roads?
All right, no, thank you very much for that question. Our kids are not safe. Hence, this came at a pertinent time, at a convenient time, because you will see that they're not given a seat at the table. They're not well catered for. For example, in the schools, there's no projects that addresses the safety of the kids. There's no projects on activities that eliminate the risks. So that's the problem that we have at the moment. But with this commitment, with this launch, we are happy that things are now going to change. Now things are going to be better. We are going to eliminate all the risks that our kids and or our youth or the adolescent face.
Right now, I did cut you short earlier on when you wanted to talk about challenges. Now, this is the time for it. What challenges does Botswana face when dealing about the issue of adolescent well-being, focusing on the road safety?
The first challenge is education. We have a low level or inadequate education when it comes to road safety for our kids, because this makes it difficult for children to know how to cross the roads or how to behave around the road. And it goes back to the issue of leaving home and going to school safe, and leaving school and going back home safely, so that they make it. Because nowadays parents are scared when they leave their children, when they depart with their children in the morning. They are afraid that will my child make it back safely? So that's the number one challenge. That's education. The second one is infrastructure around the school zones. We still have a lot of challenges around the schools, our schools, because we don't have the infrastructure like the pedestrian crossing, which is commonly known as the zebra crossing. We still have the speed humps, the one that calm the speed or reduce the speed. Remember that we have a 30 kilometers per hour speed limit around the school zone, because the vehicle that hits a child traveling at 30 kilometers per hour, the child's survival chances are higher than when it exceeds that speed. We still have the challenges of the curriculum, like our teachers are still not able to teach road safety as a subject. So therefore it creates that challenge for that our children are they don't, even when they're not at school, even when they are at home or they are at church or they're at the home village, they still meet the vehicles, they still use the road. Yes.
All right, now, what Botswana can do when talking sustainable development goal in well-being for adolescents in road safety? Because you've just mentioned the challenges that we do encounter in this country, the inadequate education infrastructure. What can the country do?
Okay. First of all, the country can fund the projects and the activities. That's the number one thing. Because, you know, these interventions come at a cost or come at a price. So for us to invest in the safety of our kids, we need to finance this. Funding is the number one priority. Then the second one is involvement. We need to involve the youth. The youth are seen as the problem, but they need to be part of the solution because they are the ones who are mostly affected. So this is the starting point. And the thirdly is political will, government involvement. Because right now, when we are launching this commitment, NPC, National Planning Commission, is the spearheading leader of this, together with the WHO, World Health Organization. But they cannot do this alone. This is a stakeholder engagement activity or process. So when these three elements are put together, that's when we are adamant and that we are sure that we are going to address the risk that we face for the adolescent and the youth.
Right. Now, what are we doing in Botswana as a country to address challenges facing adolescents? A question being that, are we doing enough to address these challenges? Because you said we need political will. There are different organizations that are dealing with adolescents' education, and we need that education, Murikolong. If at all, it should be included in the syllabus. It should be. Everything should be done. All measures should be put in place to make sure that our kids and adolescents are safe. Are we doing enough?
I would say we are not doing enough because the statistics tells us otherwise. Because the higher the statistics, it means that we are not doing the job. But if we reduce the statistics, or if the statistics go down, that means that now we have a path. Now we are doing an impact. Now there's an impact. So I would say, although we are not doing enough, but there is an effort. So there's something that we are doing because a lot of civil societies are engaged. A lot of government organizations are engaged. A lot of UN agencies are engaged, and the government as well. And this one, I think we are more excited to share that the president and the first lady are involved and they're impressed about the work of the adolescent. So we have the backing of His Excellency, and we have the backing of the First Lady. So that's really gives me joy that indeed we are on the right track, and indeed that we are going to make so much impact.
Right, that's the political will you were talking about. Now, how developing these sustainable development goals can assist in ensuring that we have a well-being of adolescent children?
It goes in two ways. First, it has to start with, like I mentioned earlier, the education. We need more education. We need to educate people more. We need information dissemination. We need commitment. We need people to commit, because it starts as an individual before we can now go to the next person. So if all this are glued together, if all this come together or come to play, that's when we can see the light at the end of the channel. Yes.
Right now, WHO appreciated your efforts as road safety ambassadors. Take us through that.
Okay, it's a milestone for us because, you know, WHO it hardly or it never appreciate an individual civil society, especially in the country that they exist on. So with the activities and the efforts that we make, we were able as the Society of Road Safety Ambassadors to get the recognition because we were already planning or having something in the pipeline, because this project is also supported by the FIA in the United Kingdom, in London. So we are already working with an FIA. So it was easy for WHO to reach out to us and to make us meet the government agencies and the stakeholders locally. That's how they got to appreciate and see the milestone and the mileage and the work that we already kick-started.
What is it that you're doing for you to be recognized by WHO? Like you were talking about public information or educating the public or educating young children and adolescents about this. What more are you doing to pass on the information and to be recognized by WHO?
All right. Thank you. We are lobbying for the government. We are doing advocacy, and we are doing an infrastructure improvement projects around the school zones, because these are the projects that stand out. These are the projects that when they are implemented in a certain school, you can see the difference, because these are the speed. We implement the speed humps, we put the pedestrian crossing, we put the mural, we put the sidewalk. So when you approach that school, or when you go to that school, you are able to see those features. The other one is advocacy, as I have already mentioned, because we target the leaders, because the leaders are the one who have the influence, who have the potential to say, this is what we can do. We can take decision. And also we give the adolescent and the children the platform to express themselves, to be on the ground and to lead, because you cannot do everything for the young people, but you can teach the young people to do everything for themselves.
All right. Now, let's wrap our conversation by talking about this. The priorities and strategies need to address this issue, looking at SDGs.
Yes, the National Planning Commission is busy at the moment as we speak to align the remember during the launch, or prior to the launch, this was the commitments that that were brought up by the young people, the challenges that they face every day. So they gathered their challenges and they put them to make one commitment. And when the HE went to the SDG summit in New York, that's when he presented the findings or the commitment. So we are really making a progress, because this actually translates to the strategies and the policies that needs to be formulated to address this. So I can confidently say that we are on the right track. We are still at the drafting stage, and this will soon be released and published, and the young people owning this will spearhead the commitment.
Right. As we wrap up our conversation, what is it that you have to say to different stakeholders, to the public at large, and to even about all these implementations and everything that the government is doing to make sure that at the end of the day they are safe in the roads?
All right. I'll just urge the public or everyone to be on board, because we cannot manage alone. We need stakeholder engagement. We need we need political will. We need help. We need any funding, donation in kind, everything that you need to do, so that we cater for our young people, because this are our future generation, the generation or the future leaders of tomorrow. So we need to protect them, we need to eliminate risk for them, and we need to empower them.
All right. Rematlajwe, that is how we have to put the end to the conversation. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Well, so re khutla teng ha ne ke bisanya hano jalo le road safety ambassador re Galeboe Motlhajwe re bua jalo ka pabalesego ya bana mo ditseleng tsa rona, le gore gormente o dira eng a supa jalo gore ba kgotse ikemetse le bao ba ileng gore ba ka tsa skarolo kana ke ba tsa karolo le bana le sabe botlhe gore ba kgone go tshwaragana gore ko pohelong ja letsatsi re ne le ba eteledi pele ba ile gore ba balesegile mo ditseleng tsa rona. Ke a boa ska suita.
It pleases me immeasurably to be here at this groundbreaking, to bear witness, as you do too, to the biggest FDI project in the history of Botswana, which will deliver in the first instance 300 megawatts of coal-fired base load generation capacity into the grid. This project is a clear demonstration of the government's unwavering commitment to delivering on promises that transform Botswana's energy landscape and ensure self-reliance and a resilient power supply, which is an enabler for attaining not only a high income status, but also delivering on jobs that we promise. Bagaitsu, securing 300 megawatts of base load generation underpins our national vision and transformation strategy, which envisions a Botswana that is effective with proper working infrastructure and systems, with a citizenry that has globally competitive skills and expertise and is attractive to international investors. It has become financially unsustainable to rely on power imports, expensive as most are, from our neighboring countries due to the regional power generation deficit. Clearly, reliance on power imports to meet our increasing electricity requirements is no longer an option, as this poses a huge risk to our economy. This project will significantly enhance the security of electricity supply to our economy and is set to end Botswana's dependence on neighboring countries to meet the country's electricity demand, energy demand, which continues to increase with the ongoing economic and socio-economic developments across all sectors of our economy. The 300 megawatt baseload generation will significantly augment our current baseload generation from Murupule B power station, which is currently our main source of baseload generation with a net capacity of 520 megawatts. Our electricity peak demand is now close to 700 megawatts during the winter peak demand season, which means that our current generation capacity is not sufficient to meet this peak, hence the importance of increasing our power generation capacity in line with the integrated resource plan. I've been assured that the 300 megawatt coal-fired power plant that is to be built here will deploy modern clean coal technology, which limits emissions of harmful gases, namely sulfur dioxide and nitrous oxides, to international environmental standards. Botswana will continue to exploit its primary energy resources, namely coal, solar, wind, and others, in a sustainable manner. I am advised that the target is to have 40% shareholding in the project company by the 10th anniversary of the commercial operation of the project. Ensuring inclusion and effective participation of our people in the development of our economy remains one of the key priorities of my government. I'm happy to note that the project developers have committed to deploy as many local resources as feasible over the full project's life cycle, from construction through to decommissioning. In this regard, beyond the heightened employment of Botswana during the construction phase, up to and beyond 1,000, I'm told, the integrated coal mine and power project will further create significant permanent citizen employment during its operation phase. I don't know about you, but I've almost lost count of the number of mines we're opening recently. Currently, the national electrification level stands at 66%, making Botswana one of the leading countries in the region in terms of access to electricity by households. As per our National Vision 2036, 13 years from now, we'll become a net exporter.
When we talk of the smart spots, which is an internet provision by the government of Botswana to us as workers in the travel administration, as well as the public, it is not limited to us. It is a free internet which is done so that the general public can even use it. We do not have limits on it. It is free and it is 24 hours. Actually, as we know, we've got the government's new priorities, where there is what we call the reset agenda by the President of the Republic of Botswana. It talks of valuing what we have. Take value on the services that you provide. So first of all, I would commend the government of the Republic to have actually looked at this as very positive. You can remember the customary courts as a customary system. We would maybe think of them as a place where you can't even find internet. Now, where does Botswana come from? Where does or is the government leading to? The government is leading to say, we are prioritizing. We are even going a mile. We are going to the customer records. We are putting internet there. Let us look at the president's agenda on issues of a knowledge-based economy. And we handle criminal and civil cases in the customer courts. We've got to benchmark. We've got to go into internet to see how issues were solved. We even have to refer maybe to the books of law where it is easy access. Even as public, when they are here and there is a place where they can go to and easily get into internet freely, valuing customer courts, primary schools, health facilities, and all that, we are going to obviously become a nation which is actually going forward, leading to success. But the key word that I've told is a knowledge-based economy. Because how do you get into economy if you are not knowledgeable? Remember, the global village where you can actually buy any good from any country in the world. But how do you do that? You can communicate within less than a minute. Somebody in UK, somebody in America, somebody in Singapore, somebody in Dubai, you mention it, he will even be communicating with you. That's through internet. So we are very pleased as customer courts, as the traditional leadership, as the community at large, because I stand here for the community. I would say definitely they are very happy. Kotla meetings, we are here, and as they are here, they access internet. Because I would give you an example. The traditional system, the Kotla system of Botswana, it is a way where we, the government and the community, discuss issues. And as they discuss issues, apparently you can even see Parliament live through smart boards. You can even get into internet and get information. I should think even the Hansard and all that, and even other issues. Like now, I've opened smart boards in my laptop here, looking at the national priorities, for example, looking at a lot of issues that relate maybe to the customer system. So that is how we use it. I think the implementation of change, our mindset, how we look at things, how we discuss things, how we approach the community, that's an approach that is a changed approach of a management style. So I can only say we are very happy to have it.
It pleases me immeasurably to be here at this groundbreaking, to bear witness, as you do too, to the biggest FDI project in the history of Botswana, which will deliver, in the first instance, 300 megawatts of coal-fired base load generation capacity into the grid. This project is a clear demonstration of the government's unwavering commitment to delivering on promises that transform Botswana's energy landscape and ensure self-reliance and a resilient power supply, which is an enabler for attaining not only a high income status, but also delivering on jobs that we promised. Bagaitsu, securing 300 megawatts of base load generation underpins our national vision and transformation strategy, which envisions a Botswana that is effective with proper working infrastructure and systems, with a citizenry that has globally competitive skills and expertise and is attractive to international investors. It has become financially unsustainable to rely on power imports, expensive as most are, from our neighboring countries due to the regional power generation deficit. Clearly, reliance on power imports to meet our increasing electricity requirements is no longer an option, as this poses a huge risk to our economy. This project will significantly enhance the security of electricity supply to our economy and is set to end Botswana's dependence on neighboring countries to meet the country's electricity demand, energy demand, which continues to increase with the ongoing economic and socio-economic developments across all sectors of our economy. The 300 megawatt baseload generation will significantly augment our current baseload generation from Murupule B power station, which is currently our main source of baseload generation with a net capacity of 520 megawatts. Our electricity peak demand is now close to 700 megawatts during the winter peak demand season, which means that our current generation capacity is not sufficient to meet this peak, hence the importance of increasing our power generation capacity in line with the integrated resource plan. I've been assured that the 300 megawatt coal-fired power plant that is to be built here will deploy modern clean coal technology, which limits emissions of harmful gases, namely sulfur dioxide and nitrous oxides, to international environmental standards. Botswana will continue to exploit its primary energy resources, namely coal, solar, wind, and others, in a sustainable manner. I am advised that the target is to have 40% shareholding in the project company by the 10th anniversary of the commercial operation of the project. Ensuring inclusion and effective participation of our people in the development of our economy remains one of the key priorities of my government. I'm happy to note that the project developers have committed to deploy as many local resources as feasible over the full project's life cycle, from construction through to decommissioning. In this regard, beyond the heightened employment of Botswana during the construction phase, up to and beyond 1,000, I'm told, the integrated coal mine and power project will further create significant permanent citizen employment during its operation phase. I don't know about you, but I've almost lost count of the number of mines we're opening recently. Currently, the national electrification level stands at 66%, making Botswana one of the leading countries in the region in terms of access to electricity by households. As per our National Vision 2036, 13 years from now, we'll become a net exporter.
Welcome back, and thank you for staying with us on In Context. Now, in our next conversation, we're talking about this. Botswana Investment and Trade Center, BITC, and European Union Africa Rise are in partnership that will require technical assistance to undertake a pharmaceutical sector study that will consider how Botswana can develop its local production capacity and be positioned as a pharmaceutical hub for the region and develop her value position considering market dynamics. Now, team leader for Africa Rise, Mihaela Balen, and Manager Market Intelligence, BITC, Mr. Rutusang Malatlegi, joins us right now to delve much into understanding more of this. Good afternoon, and thank you so much for joining us on Botswana Television.
Good afternoon.
Thank you so much.
All right, let's start with you, Ms. Balen. Let's start a conversation on the overview about Africa Rise. What is it?
Okay, thank you so much. So Africa Rise is a EU-funded project. We implement projects in 25 countries in Eastern Africa, Southern Africa, but also Indian Ocean. We've been a long partner of Botswana. Our first project and the EU Africa Rise was in Botswana with smart bots. where we help them to develop the National Innovation Capability Framework for Botswana. Since then, we've brought more partners with us. So BITC is our key partner here. We developed several studies, including one on a market access Botswana to DRC, and very recently 2 studies, one on ICT to identify investment opportunities for Botswana, and also the pharmaceutical study that my colleague from BITC is going to speak about. In addition, we do also a lot of regional projects, such as the strategic corridors, 2 strategic corridors and the Global Gateway, where we basically look at investment opportunities in soft and hard infrastructure across the south, south to north, meaning from South Africa to up to DRC, and also Namibia to Mozambique. So yeah, this is in a very brief about our work in Botswana and the regions.
All right.
Yeah,
that's incredible. Thank you so much. All right. Now, how do we benefit from all that she just mentioned? And maybe you can take us through the pharmaceutical study that she mentioned.
Thank you very much. We do benefit a lot from this partnership. We do value this partnership with Africa Rise and EU in general. It's one of those partnerships that actually guides us and gives us an opportunity to sometimes study sectors and how the sectors are shaped here so that we can make informed decisions when it comes to issues around investment and trade development. In particular, if you look at the pharmaceutical study, sector study, we were trying to heed to a call from government intentions of attaining health security or medicine security. COVID taught us that we should have some level of productive capacity when it comes to medicines, so that we can be able to supply ourselves. So the study will actually guide us in identifying investment opportunities, in identifying what needs to be done in terms of regulatory and institutional reforms by government, and then promote investment in the pharma manufacturing sector. The recommendations from the study will go a long way in shaping Botswana's value proposition in terms of trying to attract investment into that particular sector. So we really are very glad that we undertook this partnership with Africa Rise, and we think that they will also help us in implementing some of the recommendations that we arise from the pharmaceutical sector study.
All right, that's incredible. So I think, as you've already mentioned, we're going to benefit a lot from this. Now, what is the significance of Africa Rise on pharmaceutical in Africa and beyond?
So us as a program, we have another study that we have done in Mauritius. If you look at the kind of level of investment that we as a program have done in the sector, because I was saying it's Botswana but also Mauritius, it's quite significant. About 10% of our resources went into the pharmaceutical sector to kind of respond to the needs of the countries, in this case Botswana. So yeah, it's one of the top priority, also very much aligned with one of the key investment priorities of the Global Gateway that I've just mentioned.
Right.
So very happy to support Botswana on this sector. Thank you.
All right. Now, in the context of Botswana, what should we expect in that regard, and how local pharmacies stand to benefit from this?
We stand to benefit a lot. From the study, we have realized that we have a very small market. It's well documented. And the study shows us that now we need to leverage on other African countries so that we partner and develop regional value chains. So we really are saying that we will, from our private sector, they should be looking at forming collaborations, partnerships, joint ventures with other African fellow, pharmaceutical manufacturing in other countries. Of essence, I think of significance, we talk about Zambia, Zimbabwe, Namibia, and Botswana, which forms part of Zazibona, and then 6 other countries that have recently joined. So it's for us now to actually mobilize our private sector to play in the regional value chains and then produce what they can produce here at comparative or competitive advantage, and then get whatever we can get from other countries, so that as Africans we take advantage of the African free continental free trade area, AfCFTA.
Right. Yeah. In the same breath, I like what you just mentioned, the issue of value chain. How do we benefit from the pharmaceutical, industry as a whole in terms of creating employment? We are talking about also the African free trade, where we have got access to the bigger market, not only looking to Botswana, but producing and giving other African countries. What's coming in the long run?
In the long run, we are looking at developing our productive capacity. Obviously, it will come with some level of investment. It will come with employment generation. Not only employment, but it also, come with issues like technology transfer, skills transfer, and our people tend, they will benefit from such in terms of trying just to add on to the skilled labor that we already have as Botswana, and also to inform us as to what kind of skills we need for us to be able to support the pharmaceutical sector. Like I'm saying, it's going to be a collaborative effort between the private sector, research institutions such as UB, BUST, BUAN, and other private universities and all those things, and then the private sector itself in terms of investment, and then also trying to build business here. We are also going to benefit in terms of just economic diversification, which will eventually lead to us producing more products for export, and also trying to import substitute what we have been taking from India and other supplying countries when it comes to human medicines.
Right.
Yeah.
And like what you just said, the meeting the local demand and also exporting what we produce. What Africa Rise does in pharmaceutical sectors in Botswana?
So in Botswana, this is our first project where we partner, as I said, with BITC. Where we are now, basically, we have the results of the study. We have clear kind of direction in terms of where the opportunities exist for Botswana, but also Botswana as a player in the region. What we do now, we kind of move on the, let's say, call it second phase, where we try to take a couple of them and move to the next level, develop these investment opportunities further, find investees, so kind of businesses which are currently working in the sector, such as we have some examples, BFI, Botage, and also link with investors.
Okay.
So that's kind of next on our plate, let's say, but together with our partner BITC.
All right, now, how will Botswana and Africa leverage from this study? And also, maybe, you can answer that one. How can not only us, but Africa leverage on this study that we're talking about?
Yeah, it's actually a study that shows that regional collaboration is key. So that is where Africa needs to leverage. That is where Botswana also needs to leverage, borrowing from the fact that we are a very small market, and a pharmaceutical industry needs a very large market. It needs a lot of investment. So that is where we are going to leverage. We are going to be able to form collaborations, like I said, and then also try and mobilize and utilize the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement in order for us to be able to reach other sections of Africa. Also, vice versa, other African countries will also leverage on our study because it has a regional context to it. It assesses a number of countries with similar conditions such as ours, and they will be able to use those findings for them to be able to inform what they can manufacture, what they can import, and what role they can play along the African pharmaceutical manufacturing value chain.
Earlier this week, we had one member from the traditional doctors here in studio with us. They were talking about their knowledge of the local medicines that they do have and their willingness to collaborate with the doctors from the other side. How are we ready? Do we have enough? Are we going to see this introduction of pharmaceutical companies being maybe set up and the investment, bringing this up more so that for the longest, they've been ignored, to say?
Yes, if you look at the study, one of the key issues that it picks up it's trying to leverage on what we have here in terms of medicinal plants that we have, documenting them, and then try and making recommendations to the effect that we need to develop that particular sector. It's one of the areas, like she says, I think in phase 2, it's one of the areas that we'll actually concentrate on for us to be able to integrate traditional medicine into modern medicine. It's actually, we should mention that BITC and Africa Rise did undertake a lot of consultations together with, the Traditional Doctors Association, if it's called that, if I remember very well. They were also heavily involved in some of the workshops that we held around the country. We visited areas such as Dibete, where you often find all those traditional medicines. I think it's an opportune time for us to be able to infuse traditional medicine into modern medicine and try and and develop our communities, because it's where you find all this medicinal plants, all these plant species that can actually be used as inputs or as some of the ingredients that are used for making medicines.
All right, that's incredible. We are towards the end of our conversation, but before we wrap it up, I want us to understand, maybe briefly, just explain how all of this investment that is coming in and Africa Rice, how are we going to benefit and maybe diversify the economy, so that we are talking about the diversity of the economy, not to be dependent on minerals that we do get from the ground, but also coming up with other sectors that will improve the economy that we do have.
So I think this is what all these projects are about. So ICT, investment in ICT, investment in pharmaceutical is basically about diversification of the economy. And this is what we do. And as I said, we are a demand-driven facility. We get this kind of requests from our partners, such as BITC. So we are open to more diversification for Botswana and, of course, the region. So,
all right. Maybe your last words as we wrap up.
Yeah, as BITC, I think we really are committed to government aspirations for export diversification and product diversification, all those things, and creating meaningful employment here. I think from our partnerships with Africa Rice, we'll go a long way in trying to, lure investors to Botswana and then creating sustainable jobs in our country.
All right. And that is how we have to come to the end of our conversation. Thank you so much for your time and the insights that you gave us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. And I had in studio with me team leader for Africa Rice, Mihaela Balan, and manager market intelligence, BITC, Mr. Hutwisa Malatlegi. We are talking about Botswana Investment Trade Center, BITC, and European Union Africa Rice are in partnership that will require technical assistance to undertake a pharmaceutical sector study that will consider how Botswana can develop its local production capacity and be positioned as a pharmaceutical hub. Don't move. I'm coming right back with the 5 o'clock news.
This initiative is in line with the government's reset agenda to revive the livestock subsector and ensure value chain development within the sector. It was essential that I, as your president, revive the livestock subsector because, as you know, not only did it decline, but it suffered the worst decline in the recent past. In fact, it was not just a decline, it was an assault on the livestock subsector. The objective of this initiative complements the envisaged upgrading of the Ramatlabama National Artificial Insemination Laboratory into a center of excellence and an export facility. It is expected that these breeding cattle, which are a national asset, will be used in the production of semen embryos that will be of high quality for both domestic and global markets. A national asset. There are 106 Brahman bulls, 106. There are 21 white Brahman heifers. The bulls are also white Brahman bulls. There are 4 red Brahman bulls. There are 2 black Angus bulls. There are 2 red Angus bulls. There are 5 Charolais bulls, 5 Brangus bulls. There are 10 Beefmaster Putibili bulls. And there are 7 Santa Gertrudes bulls. We are not just importing top genetics. We are going to import skills to ensure that the envisaged objectives of the upgrading of Ramatlabama Laboratory are achieved, i.e. the ability to make straws, the ability to make embryos, and the ability to tap the bulls of farmers, not just those of government. The live cattle breeding initiative, which forms part of the revised artificial insemination program, will be supported with the use of the best, and these are global best technologies and equipment for improved efficiency. And I'm happy to say that with our collaboration with the United States of America, particularly the companies there, we are making a lot of headway in bringing on board the best genetics, the best technologies, the best skills in the world to match where the best beef comes from in the world. We just bring your cattle here and we make them taste better. That's what we do.
The road to destiny is not paved with brick and tar, but with vision and determination that unveil over time who we truly are when we get there. The Ministry of Transport and Public Works has embarked on a journey of transformation to enhance the efficiency of transport system in the Greater Gaborone area. This journey of the Greater Gaborone Urban Transport Improvement Project is funded by the Government of Botswana, assisted by the World Bank and OPEC Fund for International Development. The ideas adopted through this transport improvement project will for the next 25 years transform Greater Gaborone to a mobile compact city based on concepts of urban transport development in relation to land settlement and use. Wasting no time and without a moment to spare, the government of Botswana, through the Ministry of Transport and Public Works, initiated the construction of 3 bridges or overhead crosses along the KT Motsete Drive, Western Bypass. At the junction with Lobatse Road, Game City Circle, Willie Siboni Road, BTV Circle, and Kudumatse Drive, Rainbow Circle. The installation and operation of new modernized traffic signaling systems and centralized traffic control (CTC), as well as the layout improvement of selected intersections in Greater Gaborone. These projects will go a long way in enhancing critical transport infrastructure required for improving quality of life for citizens and visitors and strengthening economic development in the Greater Gaborone area. The ministry is set on fulfilling Vision 2036 aspirations for the benefit of all Botswana through sustainable roads of a global standard that promote prosperity for all. Ministry of Transport and Public Works, gateway to world-class infrastructure and transport services.
So amagela dikgang tsa Botswana Television tsa nako ya botlhano di gasa ka tlhamalalo go tswa toropo kgolo Gaborone di go kopanya le nna o lebile Samoka a re bone ditlhogo. Puso e gatetse pele mo maitlamong a yone ya go bona gore bengga e nna bone ba di gogang kwa pele mo ditlhabololong. Mohumagadi wa Gatautona Meno Masisi a re melao ya bana e tshwanetse ya fetola go itepatepanya le dinako tsa segompieno. Banni ba Moshopa ba kopa gore go dirwe melao e gagametseng e tebagantseng le thekiso le go nwa ga bojalo. Wetso nkamogela a bodi amogele mo pegong ya ntlha Tona Dr. Mokgweetsi Masisi a re puso e tsweletse ka go dira ka bojotlhe go netefatsa fa Batswana ba nna le seabe se se tona mo ditlhabologong o ka ile fa maitlamo a go baya Batswana kwa pele a le motshega mo mehameng ya ditlhabologo ka go farologana ya akaretsa meepo temothuo botsogo le tse dingwe tse tsotlhe di leng botlhokwa go ga maitlamo a ditlhabologo tsa itsholelo le batho tsa sennela ruri. Tatona o bile se mo phuthegong ya kgotla kwa motseng wa Mabalane kwa kgatleng tshokologong eno o sidile nkabetsi wa bega.
Tlhabologo ya bothe katego le tswelelopele ya matshelo a Batswana ka kakaretso ke dingwe tse puso e di ipeileng pele go di diragatsa go ya ka tebelopele ya setšhaba ya 2036. Banni ba motse wa Mapalane ba ba hetang 1,200 le bone hela jaaka ba metse e mengwe ba na le tshwanelo ya go hiwa dithabollo tse di tla tokagatsa matshelo a bone.
Thetolo ya ntlha e tona e ke tsereng ke gore itsholelo e retologele go itebaganya sa ntlha le thata le Batswana. Dikai tsa go diralo keng ke ya ka ne ke bua kgantele ka constituency Development Fund. Le ga re tsenya lenaneo lena la gore re retolele itsholelo batswaneng. Di kata di weli ba itsanape tsotlhe tse ne di dirwa tse di thusang gore go mainiwe ne di dirwa gantsi ke batswakwa. Ne re ntse re ntsha merogo e ka lekana 10% ya palo yotlhe ya merogo e ne re tlhoko Botswana. Gompe go repotile 65% ka madi ao a mo batswaneng. Ha go rekwa melemo ke puso kana ka thuso ya puso go rekwa mo di-pharmacy tsa Batswana.
Bagolwane ba motse ba ntsha dikopo di akaretsa go agelwa sepatela se segolwane ga mmogo le melelwane gareng ga motse wa bone le mengwe me matona a puso a lebaneng a tsebogela dikopo tse.
Bakgata ga bana sepatele mo kgaolong ya Kgatleng. Me re ne re kile ra sepisiwa o re gopole ka lebaka leo.
Mo lenaneo la rona le potakile mo go transitional plan. Re na le sepatela se le gore sa go aga go ra sesa se se le gore ebile re santse re na le setsha 30 hectares re le sologelang jalo gore ba simolole go dira tsotlhe tse le gore di ka simolosa tshimologo ya sepatela se mo ngwageng tsone tse mo ngwageng ono wa madi le o latelang.
Re kile ra ikuela re kile ra lla ka molelwane wa rona wa Sikwane le Mabalane le monakong ya gompieno ga re ise re kgwi dikgaba.
Ke kgang e leng gore ba local government bolang thata ba lephata la bogosi ke bona ba re supegetsang gore molwane o tsamaya kae mme morago ga ba re supegetsa ke rona re tabo re ba molwane wa teng.
Puso e ikemiseditse go thabolola metse le ditoropo e le tsela nngwe ya go itebaganya le dikeletso le mathoki a batho ba lehatshe leno ba heta 1.7 million ba ba nnang mo magaeng le ba heta 650,000 ba ba nnang mo ditoropong ka thuso ya khansele ya dithabololo tsa magae e thusang go anamisa dithabololo mo metseng. Utshidile Onkabetse, Botswana Television.
Mohumagadi wa Gatautona Mene Masisi a re o tla tlhomamisa gore go dire diphetogo dingwe mo molaong wa lefatshe leno wa ditshwanelo tsa bana wa ngwaga wa 2009 gore o itebaganye botoka le dikgwetlho tse di amang bana mo nakong eno. Mohumagadi wa Gatautona o buile se mosong ono mono ga borone jaaka makarena a lekgotla la ditšhaba a UNICEF le UNFPA a ne a tshegeditse moletlo wa go ipeela letsatsi la mafatshe la ngwana wa mosetsana. Kabelo kgakololo wa pega.
Lekgotla la ditšhaba le tlhomile Phalana le 11 go nna letsatsi la mafatshe la ngwana wa mosetsana ka ngwaga wa 2011 le ipelelwa ngwaga le ngwaga go rotloetsa pabalesego ya ditshwanelo le tlhabololo matshelo a bana ba basetsana. Monongwaga Botswana ene o ipelela letsatsi le jaana dibekenyana morago gore lekgotla la ditšhaba le tlhome mohumagadi wa Gatautona Mene Masisi mokgweetsi yo ngwanane wa ditshwanelo tsa bana ba basetsana mme ebile a setsana le moalo wa letsholole.
I will, amongst other things, focus on a strategy to reduce new HIV infections among adolescent girls and young women, advocate for upscaling of psychosocial support services, including addressing mental health.
Mohumagadi wa Gatautona wa gola maiteko a lefatshe leno mo go sireletseng ditshwanelo le go tlhabolola botshelo jwa ngwana wa mosetsana le fa go ntse jalo o dumela fa go le gontsi go santse go ka dirwa.
This Children's Act of 2009 will be updated with amendments to some sections. Are you not relieved? Additionally, the government of Botswana has made significant strides in ensuring that programs which address children's needs are allocated public funding.
Gore mo moletlong o go ne ga rolwa semmuso lenaneo la Taking a Girl Child to Work le maikalelo a lone e leng go rotloetsa ngwana wa mosetsana go nna le ditoro tsa boeteledipele.
As you progress in life, it's also important for you to have experiences from some of the companies you met today around how you can become your own entrepreneur, how you can learn skills to create wonderful things, create your own business. And that is all part of an initiative that His Excellency President Eric Keabetswe Masisi is championing called Generation Unlimited.
And
I'm glad to know that we as girls in this country, we are safe. We don't have to constantly get worried about us being sidelined when it comes to opportunities. So we've got no worries, we are sorted. All that is left is for us to take it as a responsibility now to act accordingly.
I was actually impressed by the way she was so open about everything, her journey. Though she couldn't say much, we learned a lot. And we loved when she said we should squeeze out the lemons, you know. We should take everything and be hardworking. We need to do what we're supposed to be doing, learn to set boundaries.
Molotlo o sala morago go rolwa semmuso ga maitlamo a ditlhabololo tsa sennela ruri a banana mo lefatsheng leno. Ka Balkhakollo, BTV News, Gaborone.
Bakgatla ba ga Manana kwa Moshopa ba kopile gore go gagamadiwe melawana e laolang theko le tiriso ya bojalwa go hema maitsholo a sa itumediseng a mangwe le tiriso botlhaswa ya bojalwa. Banne ba buile seo bošeng mo phuthegong ya kgotla ya therisanyo morafe tebang le tshekatsheko ya paakanyo ya molao wa bojanwa e neng e buisiwa ke tona wa lephata la papadi le madirelo Remusi Kgafela. A re utlwe pego ka Jessica Pilane.
Loeto la Gatona Kgafela la therisano le setšhaba ka tshekatsheko ya molao wa bojalwa ke maiteko a puso go netefatsa fa Batswana ba nna le seabe mo go bopeng le go baakanya molao wa tsamaiso le thekiso ya bojalwa go tswa kwa moding.
Ke tla ga ka maikaelelo a gore ko pheletsong re ya kwa parlamenteng re go simolla molao sešwa o e leng gore o tsamaisa theko le thekiso le kgwebo ka kakaretso le tiriso ya nnotagi ba gaetsho.
Banne ba supile fa ba eletsa gore go gagamadiwe melawana e e amang tiriso le thekiso ya bojalwa.
Batho ba ba nwang bojalwa ga ke tsura ba kopanya le ba dibara ba ta ba rekisa le di-trucks. Ha o sna go phunya ka go bololang ka teng wana gore o ema ka ha semelong o mongwe o tsa mo go pinyana mo thela mo teng ke gone mo e tla re o ne le thini le ngwe hela hela bo re ta o theletswe teng mo ba remmo jaanong ga ke itse gore molao o ka ira jang gore go gagamadiwe gore dio tse di seke di a tsena mo bareng ga go ka itlhela di tsenye mo bareng monga bara a nne le boikarabelo.
Go na le kgang ya ye gantsi itumileng ka leina la di-sport mme rona kopo ya rona ke gore mo go yone a tota dikatlholo di nne ko godimo ko gore ga motho a itlhelwa a rekisa bojalo yalo mme a bodiwe gore tota o botsa ko kae ha e le gore o bonetswe ke ra tlholegela mo go bonala bangwe ba bone mahelwa ba ira madi go gaisa le bora dibara ka mabaka a gore bone dinako tsa go tswala ga gona dinako tsa go tswala ko ga di bame.
Monni mongwe o supile fa kgang ya gona bojalwa phetelela e tshwenya mo setšhabeng mme a re fa fela fa go ka tsibisiwa bana ka tiriso ya bojalwa mo lenaneo la thuto go ka thusa go lwantsha kgang e.
Ke bona gore gongwe ha re ka tsa selo se ra se tsara se isa go dikweleng ra si ruta bana gore ba tle ba nne le boikarabelo go tswa ko tlase ba itse gore la ga ke a go nwa bojalwa mme gone ditlamorago tsa teng ke eng.
Tona Kgafela o lebogetse dikagelo tsa banni ba Moshopa mme a supa fa di tla nnelwa fatshe di sekasekwe fa thomo e ya go tsaya megopolo mo setšhabeng e wela. Jessica Pilane, BTV News, Moshopa.
Moletlo wa Maung International Arts Festival o tla fiwa madi a lekanang 181,000 pula ke Orange Foundation go itebaganya le dituelo tsa badiragatsi le go rulaganyetsa. Moletlo o itsegeng thata ka go ipelela ngwao botaki le bodiragatsi o tlhalosiwa fa le botlhokwa ka o ka fetola matshelo a batho le itsholelo. Modulasetilo wa Poeta Vango re le godile seganabeng a re tshwaragano ya bone le Orange Foundation ke kgato e botlhokwa mo moletlong o ka bantse bana le dikgwetlho tsa tlhaelo ya madi go dira moletlo wa maemo a ntlha. A rutlepego ke Kgomotsego John.
Mokgatlo wa Poeta Vango o ta ipelela segopotso sa dingwaga di le 10 sa moletlo wa Maung International Arts Festival kgwedi e tang. Maikaelelo a moletlo o ke go tsholetsa serodumo sa botaki le bodiragatsi mo lefatsheng leno. Le fa go ntse jalo dikgwetlho tsa go dira moletlo o tshwana le o e ntse e le lethoko la madi mme go dumela fa tshwaragano e tangwa ka bana le seabe ba ka thusang ka tsa madi.
The magnitude of the festival that we plan is very ambitious.
because it's so comprehensive and we want everything there and to be done in an international standard so that even from outside and everywhere people can be able to say there in Botswana there's a festival that is of international standards. However, challenges will always be like, we hardly get enough funding to fully cover the budget that we have put forward. The sponsors are able to fund only half of that, or slightly over half.
I believe it's worth noting that Orange Foundation through Orange Botswana is supporting particularly or specifically the music component of the festival. And of course we have other partners who we are still in talks with, and we are positive that something will come up before, I don't know when, but very soon, so that we're going to give you now a full 10th anniversary.
Re ga kena betso khori go tswa ko Orange a re ngwe ya maikeelelo a bone ke go rotloetsa tikologo e ka godisa ngwao botaki le bodiragatsi mo lefatsheng leno ka jalo moleto o le jo o le botlhokwa mo go godiseng talente ya Batswana.
This isn't just about financial support. It's about investing in the future of the arts. We believe in the power of creativity to transform lives and communities. Our commitment to the professional inclusion of young artists aligns with a broader global mission to be a thriving force for positive change. The Orange Foundation for Music stands as a pillar of support, championing the cause of social inclusion through the arts.
Moleto wa ngwaga o tangwa ka badiragatsi go tswa ko mafatsheng a sele le benggae mme go santse go dumelwa fa go ka dira go le gontsi go tsholetsa serodumo sa moleto o. Kgometsego John, BTV News, Maung.
So o lebile dikgang tsa Botswana Television ra tswelela mosekisiwa go bua mang Ntsuape a re ipona molatong mo melatong ya polao e le mebedi ya e lebisitsweng le lemene ya maiteko a polao moatlhodi wa kgotla-kgolo ya ditsheko bana ba Senyamazabo o bone Ntsuape molato mo melatong yotlhe e le merataro ya e lebisitsweng moatlhodi Nyamazabo a re bosupi jo bo rotsweng mo lekgotleng bo lekane go lebisa mosekisiwa molato a re utlwa pego ka wa betseng pudubusi le o nkutlwile Thamagi.
Mosekisiwa go bua mang Ntsuape o ipone molato fa pele ga lekgotla a bo amogela fa melato e a e dirileng e sena boiphemelo bope ka fa molaong jwa ka bontshang mo lekgotleng o dumetse gape molato wa go kgopakgopetsana le mokgweetsi yo neng a ba isa kwa kgolegelong ya Gerald go tsweng kwa kgotleng kgolo ya ditsheko ya Francistown kwa neng a ile go ipega teng mabapi le molato o mongwe wa polao. Ntsuape yo ka nako eo a nantse mo setilong se se ka fa morago ga mokgweetsi mo koleng ya modiro wa Toyota Quantum o ne a tsaya taolo ya koloi eo fa ba le mo tseleng ba boela kwa kgolegelong ka go tlola a bo a soka-soka seterebo. Tiragalo eo e feletse baka kotsi e neng ya gapa matshelo a batho ba le babedi e bong Emmanuel Mapholo le Thusong Tosa ya bo ya baka dikgobalo mo bapalaming ba bangwe ba koloi eo ba le bane. Ntsuape wa amogetse fane a na le maikaelelo a go bolaya bapalami ba koloi eo mo godimo ga mo a ne a tlhaloganya fa go tsaya taolo ya koloi go ka nna ga baka dintsho ga mmogo le dikgobalo le gore se a se dirileng se kgatlhanong le molao. Moatlhodi Barnabas Nyamazabo a re bosupi jotlhe jo bo ntshitsweng mo lekgotleng bo a kgotsofatsa ka jalo e tla re kgwedi ya Sedimontlhole e le 12 monongwaga mmueledi wa ga Ntsuape a tlhalosetse lekgotla gore a go ka tswa go nnile le sengwe se se neng sa go gomotsa Ntsuape maikutlo gore a felele a dira molato o. Ntsuape wa tlholetse leso mo molatong o mongwe wa go bolaya mmaagwe mokapelo wa gagwe wa pele Sadi Kgositsile tiragalo